Among many things that makes humans happy, well, nature and a good landscape is one of them. And the other thing is cars. Cars tend to make people happy, very happy in fact. And the reason why we get so happy with cars is primarily, according to me, for two reasons. One is of course for the way they look, the way they drive, the kind of features they offer. And the second is the sense of ownership they give you, the sense of achievement, the kind of bonding you have with the car. Now the reason why I'm saying all this is because all of that is something that you get with the new Tata Nexon. This is a car that makes you feel proud as an Indian. When you look at this car, you feel good looking at it, you feel nice. And that's exactly what you want from a car that is truly Indian. But this is the new Nexon, and keeping the emotions aside, we will have to still judge how better or how improved it is compared to the older version, what are the changes, and that's exactly what I'll tell you over the next few minutes. Now let's start off with the design of the new Nexon first, and like Tata Motors says, the design changes are both outside and inside. And outside, well, this is a big change for the Nexon. When you look at it up front, it is nothing like the older Nexon. Yes, the silhouette is the same, but beyond that, when you look at the front especially, it's a completely new face. And what I love about this design is the sleek design that they've given. You know, the entire unit, if you look at the headlamp, this runs from this end to the other end, and it's so sleek. The DRL here, they've got the headlamp unit here in the lower part. Even if you look at the creases in the bumper, and if you look at this part of the bumper overall, it is all very sporty, aggressive, gives a lot of muscular appeal to the Nexon. This, compared to the older Nexon, looks a lot more raised. So overall, when you look at this car, it comes up as a much more beefier version of the Nexon. Looks great. I mean, I would rate it as the best looking subcompact SUV right now in the segment. Even when you move to the side, there is not much of a change because it is basically the same Nexon. Like I said earlier, the silhouette hasn't changed, but you look at the alloy wheels, the new alloy wheels, they have a very striking design. They look good, and I'm sure they also have some kind of an aerodynamic assistance, but we are yet to confirm that. Now once you move back to the rear, well, this is again where things get spicy, just like the front, because you've got these very good looking tail lamps, and they look really nice when they're lit up. Again, the creases on the tailgate coupled up with the sharp curves on the rear bumper, all of it really gives the Nexon a lot of character. Also, one interesting thing that I like is this spoiler. When you look at the spoiler, it's a very nicely integrated spoiler along with this coupe roofline. So it just adds to that sporty feel, and it also has a hidden rear wiper. So the rear wiper, you can't see it, it's hidden in plain sight, but it's just inside the rear spoiler. So that's a smart, nice feature. But overall, I think the Nexon scores big in terms of design, and like I said earlier, easily the most handsome looking subcompact SUV right now. Now with the exterior design done, let's talk about the car inside. And I will of course speak about the performance as well, but before that, before you go ahead and drive the car, you need to get inside the cabin. So let's talk about that first. Now with this variant that we are driving, this is the petrol top version with the dual clutch automatic transmission. Well, the moment you open the door, you are greeted to this color scheme inside, and well, they say for looks, beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder, but for me, there's no beauty in this color. It is just way over the top, and I mean, I just can't understand why the designers really went ahead and used this color inside, even considering the exterior color. So yeah, I mean, it's a personal choice at the end of the day. If you like it, you like it. In my case, I don't. It's just not my type of color. But yeah, beyond that, I think the cabin is fantastic. This new dashboard, the triple layer dashboard, looks fantastic. Even the texture of the dashboard in the top part is pretty nice. The pattern that they've given in the middle part looks nice. It goes with the sporty feel of the design. And what I really love about this new Nexon is this new touchscreen. It's a 10.25-inch color touchscreen, and it just looks fantastic. It's got this floating design, and it's got this very thin bezel. Because of that sleek look, it adds a lot of premium flavor to the cabin, and that is something that differentiates the Nexon from many of its rivals. Now with this update, it looks a lot more premium than its predecessor. Even the instrument cluster, again a 10.25-inch fully digital screen and customizable. So you can customize a lot of information. You can, in fact, when you're using Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, you can get all the navigation right here. So you don't have to actually take your eyes off the road and see the directions here or look at the map here. You get it all here. To give you a reference, if any of you has a reference, the way we have seen in the new Volkswagen cars and the Audi cars, the virtual cockpit, similar to that, you get the entire information, the map, everything here. Great feature. The other thing that will get your attention once you get inside the cabin is this new steering wheel. It's a brand new design. It's a two-spoke design, so of course it's very different, and it's got this very nice panel to it. It's a smooth panel and it's a backlit panel. So only when you switch on the car, the logo comes alive. You've got the buttons on both ends. The slight issue I do have with this design is that the fit and finish on both ends is not consistent. Now Tata Motors says this is a pre-production model. Things should be better with the production model, and looking at the history of their cars, I would agree with them. Production models do tend to be better than the pre-production models that we get to drive before the launch. So with this minor issue of the fit and finish, the steering wheel otherwise is fantastic. It's a bit smaller than the older Nexon, that's what I feel. It just gives you a better control over the car, gives you a little sportier feeling. And coming to the touchscreen back again, I like the way it responds to touch. The touch response is very nice, and the display quality again is nice. The resolution is sharp, and along with that you get a lot of connectivity. So now with your smartphone you can start the engine, switch it off, you can check where the car is, the location. You can do a lot of stuff with your smartphone, so that connectivity gets added on. In terms of features also, the cabin is rich. It is loaded with features. For most of us Indians, one feature that we really love, which is actually useless, is the sunroof. So yes, this has a sunroof. It's a normal sunroof, not a pano, and it's an electrically operated sunroof. So that's a good thing. Just make sure your kids are not popping out of it. That's a very stupid way to use the sunroof. But beyond that, again, coming to the feature list, the seats. Well, both of them ventilated up front, and both of them get height adjustment. So that is something that is really nice. A lot of cars have height adjustment only for the driver, but here even the co-passenger gets it. So very good feature. The seats in terms of comfort are great. Very good cushioning. The side support is brilliant, and I mean, you can be here in for hours, and I personally think that this is one of the best seats in its segment. So again, a big plus on that end. You get wireless charging here. You get this nice looking and comfortable usable armrest here. Beyond that, again, like I said, it's a connected car, good screens all around. One of the other highlights in the cabin here is this center console, and the fact that this car is almost buttonless. The only physical buttons you see inside the cabin are these two buttons here. One is to control the fan speed and one is for the temperature. Beyond that, everything is snuck into a flush touch panel. All of these are capacitive touch buttons, and well, they work really well. It might take some time to get used to it, not having any buttons at all, but once you get used to it, it's pretty easy to use. So again, what that does is gives your cabin a very clean and a premium look. So overall, the Nexon really feels a lot more expensive than its predecessor, and that's a very good thing. Talking about the rear space, well, mechanically or in terms of dimensions, the car hasn't changed much. As a result of that, space remains the same, and that's not a bad thing at all, because the Nexon was always a very spacious car to start with, and it continues to be. And I've always loved the backseat comfort in the Nexon. You get good amount of leg room, good amount of knee room. The headroom again is nice despite the exterior coupe-like design. And the seat itself, the bench is good cushioning. The backrest angle is again pretty much spot on. So yeah, I mean, it's a car that is very comfortable for a family, friends, for 4 occupants, and occasionally you might just even get in the 5th one with reasonable comfort. And now let's move on to the driving part. Well, like I said earlier, not much of mechanical changes inside the car. The engines remain almost the same, and one big change, however, is that there is now a dual clutch automatic transmission being offered. It's a 7-speed wet clutch transmission that is being offered, and now you also get these very good looking paddle shifters, which by the way also feel good to use. That's an entirely different thing. That the use itself is pretty restrictive, so they're more of an accessory, because the gearbox or the system does not allow you to hold on to a gear. Even when you're shifting manually, the moment you're approaching the red line, it will upshift. And well, if you want to upshift manually and the gearbox does not think that this is the right time, it will not let you upshift, it will not let you downshift. So basically, well, it's just an accessory. It doesn't let you do much. But yeah, I mean, I think in its segment, in terms of feel, when you use these levers, I think these are the best in terms of feel, and they also look very good. So full marks to the designers on that front. The engine, well, 120 PS for the petrol, 115 for the diesel, and not much of a change. It's a 1.2 liter, the petrol that we're driving right now. Pretty refined, really good insulation inside the cabin. So inside the cabin, when you're cruising around at say about 60, 70, when I was driving it in the morning with not much of traffic sound, all I could hear was the clatter from my watch because of the uneven surface on the road. But beyond that, there was almost no sound inside the cabin. So again, very good on that front. In terms of performance, the engine, well, I would rate it as a potent engine. It's not an outrightly performance-oriented powertrain setup, to be honest. So it's not an enthusiast's dream come true in this price budget in this segment, but it's a fairly good car to drive. It will not give you the feeling of having something underpowered, not at all. Even when you're out on the highway and you're cruising at triple-digit speeds, if you have to execute a quick overtaking maneuver, it has enough power to do that, both in the petrol and the diesel. So both of them offer you good amount of power. So that is not something that you will miss. The only slight issue here with the petrol motor is that it takes a bit of time to come alive. So there's this initial lag. Also, the throttle response is a bit dull. Now again, I don't know, probably it could be an issue with these cars because they're pre-production models. So I found the throttle response in this car to be a bit inconsistent and a bit dull. So probably if that inconsistency is ruled out, that dullness that I'm talking about is something you can live with, because it's not like really dull. It's not that dull, but yeah, I mean, you can perceive. It gives you that feel that it could be a bit more crisper. So yeah, but once it gets going, you've got a good amount of power at your disposal and at the disposal of your right foot. So like I said, easy to get to triple-digit speeds. Hold it there for the entire day, no problem at all. The new dual clutch gearbox works well on its own. Just that initial lag, again, like the engine, the gearbox also has this slight initial lag, but beyond that, I think it does the job well. Paddle shifters, I already told you, pretty much useless in terms of the actual use, but yeah, they look fine. And that brings us to the fuel efficiency. With almost no changes to the engine, the fuel efficiency also hasn't changed much. And in real world, well, the company can claim anything. What I'm going to tell you is the real world efficiency. The way we are driving it right now, this is on a Sunday in the rural areas of Rajasthan, and what we are getting right now is about 14 kilometers to a liter, which is really nice for the size and weight of this car. In a diesel, you can expect about 16 to a liter, again in urban traffic. So good fuel efficiency, and there's also the fact that the Nexon is one of the safest cars in the market, crash rated by Global NCAP for 5 stars. So that gives you additional confidence when you are pushing the car. You know that the car has enough to save you. By the way, now the Nexon range gets 6 airbags as standard. So no matter what variant you pick, you will get the additional safety of 6 airbags. That brings us to the ride and handling. Ride and handling, well, ride quality has always been a forte of Tata Motors, and that continues with this car. Like I said, no major changes mechanically. So again, pretty much the same suspension, and the suspension does a great job of soaking in all those bad bumps and speed breakers and potholes. So the car sort of just glides over small undulations on the road, and even the larger potholes, the expansion joints, again on the flyovers, they're dealt with in a very confident and a silent manner, because the suspension makes almost no sounds when even going over bad surfaces. So that's a really good thing about the Nexon. Handling, well, it's a very confident car. The Nexon has always been a car that you can chuck into corners with a lot of confidence and it'll never complain. And again, it continues with this model. I've been repeating it again and again. No major mechanical changes, so it's not as if Tata Motors has given this car a brand new suspension or that sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, it continues to be a car that you can push around corners. It's got very good straight line stability. The brakes do their job well. So even under panic braking from high speed, the car will feel confident. You won't feel as if you're losing control of the car. And yeah, I mean, overall, a good vehicle to drive and a safe one as well. And that brings us to the end of this video. And the big question is this upgrade of the Nexon worth the money? Talking of money, well, I don't know how much money you'll need to pay for this car because the prices haven't been revealed yet. We are driving the car before the launch, and that's why I told you this is a pre-production model. But I would expect that the variants of Nexon, the new Nexon, would be a little more expensive than the older variants, barring the dual clutch one. The dual clutch one would be expensive by about, I think, additionally you can add a lakh or 90,000 to it. But otherwise, if Tata Motors can price this new Nexon within 25 to 35,000 rupees of the older one on a variant level, plus minus 5,000 give or take, I think that will be some really good pricing for the car. And at that price, it would offer a fantastic value proposition. So with all these upgrades, to sum it up, the new Nexon is definitely, in my book, the best looking subcompact SUV right now. No doubts about that. It has got a big upgrade in terms of the cabin also, as it looks a lot plusher, a lot richer, and a lot better. So full marks there as well. The feature list has just gone up. So you get more connectivity, you get more tech, and you get more gizmos. So again, a big plus there. It continues to drive well, rides well. So again, comfortable and safe. And when you add all of that, you get a brilliant package. The only thing I wish for is that I would like a different color inside the cabin and paddle shifters that actually work. But beyond that, I think Tata Motors has again hit a big 6, hit the ball out of the park with this new Nexon. If you like this video, please hit that subscribe button and also press that little bell icon so that you can stay updated to all our forthcoming videos, and share it as well.